Hello, and welcome to Performance Without Barriers. My name is Damien Mills, and I'm a researcher with the Performance Without Barriers team at the Sonic Arts Research Centre at Queen's University Belfast. The project started out 6 years ago in 2015, initiated by Dr. Franziska Schroeder of the Sonic Arts Research Centre and of Dr. Michelle McCormack of the charity Drake Music Project Northern Ireland. For 26 years, Drake Music have been involved in creating opportunities for people with disabilities to make independent music learning and creation. This ethos was carried over into the Performance Without Barriers team, and we've spent the last 6 years developing new affordances and new research with people with disabilities in making music. I'm here to show you a little bit about the virtual reality work that we've been doing. In 2018, we created a project called Immersion, and that led us to work on a program called Excerpt, the Infinite Instrument, created by Aesthetic Interactive. It was a great instrument because it had a lot of affordances that no other digital musical instrument up until this time could give. So I'm going to let you have a look at it by donning on my helmet or my Oculus Quest head-mounted display, and I shall see you in there. Okay, I've got my display on, and let's have a look and see what's inside. Okay, we have two controllers, which I've got in my hands here. It allows me to navigate this space. Let's get myself orientated correctly. We have some drum kits here, by the looks of things. Okay, it's very intuitive, you know what's going on there, but it's not very responsive. I do know that I'm hitting it because I'm getting an audio response. It's lighting up as I hit it. I'm also getting a little vibration in my hand as well, a haptic feedback that allows me to know that even if I wasn't wearing the headset, I can still feel that movement and that sound coming through. But really, being immersed in this environment brings a lot of benefits. You can see all the pretty colors that the designers included in it. Piano there. Let's see what else we've got over here. Nice guitar sound. Oh, and have lots of different ringers here. Now, ringers are different shaped controllers. We've got one that allows us to reach further. That's useful. If you only got small movement here, it's going to be reflected way up at the top. I've got this here is quite good. Oh, we've got two there, but we'll use this top one first. The nature of people with disabilities is that sometimes they don't have much movement or velocity. This program allows me to touch it gently for really quiet sounds and really expressive loud sounds as well. Something like this, which is called a prox tool, the proximator, allows you to move close and without any movement trigger different sounds, as you can see. Now this one here called the bow, which I've now got a double lightsaber effect here, does the same thing, but you do have to move your hand. So there are different ways that we can play the instruments. Now, the good thing about this program is about its customizability and the fact it can send MIDI information out as well. MIDI is computer code based around what note you're playing, how hard you're playing that note, and for how long you have pressed it, up and down movements. And so that sends that information to other digital audio workstations like Ableton Live or GarageBand. But I'm going to take one of these. It's a draw tool and a grab tool, and I'm going to find a little bit more space and show you the other wonderful aspect about this program. Because some people with disabilities don't have much movement, this allows you to basically draw instruments in and around their movement. So if somebody had only this amount of customizable movement, you could draw in one there, and then making circles, make triangles, make squares. As you can see, different colors, different notes. we can take some of them notes out. There's a chord there and another chord there. So we can basically align these triggers that are sending audio information out, and in some cases MIDI information, to really customize the instrument that you're building spatially. Only they can see it, and you can see it on the screen as well, but spatially around a person. Another good thing about this program, just finding a little bit more space, is that I can call the different bundles up as well. So let's load up one, and I can save some as well. We can load up a drum set, prepare the bundle, and that's the one we saw over there. Now let's grab that, and we can put that anywhere we want. I'm going to grab this here, take that off there too. Let's go back over here. We can take any one of these and we can clone it, resize it, and really make it as accessible for anybody who might have visual impairments, they might have mobility issues, but it basically customizes any of these. Now we've got audio options here. We can change some of the samples, so we can change our drums to change the sounds, or we can look at the MIDI output, and we've got 4 different devices there and 16 channels, which make 64 different MIDI channels output from this program, which is quite powerful. We can also change the notes of a set of sounds. So for example, if we were to load a, sorry, I'm bashing into the microphone there. You can't see anything in this. It's one of the downfalls of being in a virtual environment, is that you can't actually see the world around you. Now let's see if I can grab, oh yes, this is a pretty big one. Okay, let's grab this one. As you can see, some of the movements I'm having to do to select user interface options are pretty precise. You can imagine somebody with mobility issues not being able to really navigate in and around this environment. Now, as you can see, this actual, let's select all here. Go to our MIDI section. Let's take off that mute sound. We can hear the different sounds and change the notes, intervals, so you can see a different. And so on. So it's pretty customizable, which is what you want from a program that can be taken off the shelf and adapted for people with special needs. So as I say, it's great environment here. If you were looking at me, you would just see, as you can see in the little camera there, just me waving my hands around. But it's pretty, I'm going to take this off, and it's pretty, it blocks off my sight. I can't really communicate with any other musicians that might be around me. So it's disabling me in some ways, as well as enabling me. Now, the good thing about these triggers is that it doesn't require any force, and you can pass your hand through them. There's no resistance to any of your movements. So it's quite good for people with very weak motor control. So something like that is pretty good. But as I say, for every affordance it gives, it could possibly disable me in some ways as well. Well, that was a little journey into Excerpt, the infinite instrument. And now for a little bit more information about Performance Without Barriers. So our mission statement: we believe music, performance, and improvisation are powerful mediums for expression and communication across differences. Disability is no barrier to making music, or shouldn't be, and performance can give a vote to marginalized individuals who otherwise would not be heard. We do that through social inclusion, through creative practice. We use accessible and enabling technologies, and we try to challenge dominant assumptions, or exclusive identities. We follow the social model of disability, where emphasis is on how the environment disables a person, rather than the person being inherently disabled. The social model proposes everybody as part of the wide-ranging diaspora of life, and there is no emphasis on the disabled person to be restored in some way to normal or typical of the species. The effort needed to mitigate one-size-fits-all solution means we have a lot of work to do here. And it is at this early stage of immersive technology development that we see our work most crucially involved. Our environment constrains us in many ways. Take, for example, a wheelchair user who wishes to play an upright piano. They have difficulty at times with the constraints of the pre-built environment of that piano in which to express their art. They won't be able to fit underneath the piano, for example. Such environmental design limitations become a physical barrier to independent music making. But we hope, working within virtual realities, we can negate some of the physical barriers and create our own center-controlled environments. We are very proud to have been winners of the Queen's Vice-Chancellor's Prize for Research across the whole university for innovation in 2020, December in 2020. So it's only a few weeks old, but we're very proud and hopefully offer us new opportunities and new communications with people who can help us create new affordances and new opportunities in new technology. Drake Music Project Northern Ireland was founded in 1994 by CEO Michelle McCormack, providing access to independent music making for people with complex disabilities. I've been involved since 2013, and as an associate tutor, have worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of people in the interim, creating a wide variety of very interesting music. The process of music making involves the musicians themselves, or the new musicians, making all, if not the majority of the choices of how the composition is created, and also their performance skills too. We adapt a lot of off-the-shelf and bespoke technology in our workshops, adapting computer interfaces to the person who is making the music at that time. Drake Music Project Northern Ireland also promotes training and development opportunities for artists and musicians of all abilities to improve and take part in Drake Music workshops. In the bespoke, accessible music technology field, we also try to use existing technology and bring it together in order to make new interactions. It is difficult to do this though, because we find that technology moves so fast that some of the interfaces and some of the connections that we make become obsolete very quickly. Quite often, they're abandoned within 5 years or just set aside after a few performances for that person. We are looking at extending the life of assistive music technology, accessible music technology, by designing with disabled musicians and not for. Can't stress this enough, in that people really, if they have the opportunity to make an instrument designed for their own mobility and their expressions, then we take that opportunity. And we like to share resources with other makers as well. In the beginning, we were very humble. We worked with scrap materials and basic electronics to create design-inclusive interactions in the Sonic Arts Research Centre. Student musicians, engineers, and programmers from Queen's came together to collaborate in developing prototype interfaces for an improvised electronic ensemble performance. There were individual differences to determine the instruments designed. So if somebody could only move their neck or their eyes, there is eye recognition technology out there, like the Tobii, but something that occludes the eyes, that covers the eyes, that also reduce the ability of that person to communicate. So in the top picture there, you can see Ray using his neck rather than his more expressive eyes in order to make the music that he wished. So the obvious solution is not always the best. We have to work with the musician. Individual design solutions take time, resources, and technical know-how. Even putting together scrap material from Play Resource Warehouse and some wires, we needed to know basic electronics, how to interface with digital audio workstations like Ableton Live is the one we use a lot of. And as technology develops, so do our skill levels need to develop also. This project in 2017 showcased in the Sonorities Festival of Contemporary Music. You can reach it at the website at the bottom of the page. Since then, we've been involved in multiple rounds of prototype development and testing with AMT users. We have been involved with new people, new groups, the Contemporary Music Lab, the Hard Rain Ensemble, Farset Labs in the Belfast Hackerspace, and Be Another Lab from Barcelona. The project now develops and brings together abled and disabled musicians using this bespoke technology, and we're attracting more research funding. The Research Council brought in Alex Lucas, a designer originally from Novation, into the team, and his expertise in creating interfaces and ways around it. Embrace, a short immersive experience about inclusion embracing differences, was created in 2018. And later that year, Immerse, a performance also featuring the Hard Rain Ensemble and virtual reality musical instruments, Be Another Lab, and Drake Music Project Northern Ireland. And here's a little video to show what we did.
So this is a project that's funded by the Arts and Humanities Research Council, and it's about immersion, it's about inclusion, and it's about music technologies. New and emerging technologies, in particular virtual reality, how that impacts on music making and how it impacts on the experience of an audience.
Oh my god! This must be good.
Because there is a lot of potential for, I think anyway, extending what we consider to be immersive experiences, and also what we consider to be experiences that are immersive but inclusive of other people. Very often we have in virtual reality experiences this very isolating experience of just being in the headset, and it's our own personal experience. But when we're going into the audio domain, and particularly in a space like the Sonic Lab here, it allows us to share in that immersive experience with a bunch of other people who we experience as being present with us in that space. And I think that's an interesting direction to explore.
We're really lucky that we're working with Drake Music Northern Ireland, and that is a charity that works with disabled musicians, and they have done over 25 years. So we are integrating some of their disabled musicians and looking at their abilities and how they interact in this new medium.
As soon as you involve music, it involves language of a different kind. And I think that's a really special thing.
Come and be a part of this really special musical experience. Come and learn about new musical interfaces, learn about other people's disabilities and experiences. I am always on a quest for learning new things, and at the same time it's fun.
So that was Immerse, and with the help of Philip K. Dick and Minority Report and the Marvel Universe, we can also show you the potential in science fiction, which is fast becoming a reality, of how interactions with virtual environments be evolved. Gestural recognition is a very powerful tool. It allows people that cannot clasp some of the controllers that come with our head-mounted headsets to use their hands to interact with the environment. New affordances and immersive technologies have shown us that commercial headsets and cheaper computers now that can run the software required. The Oculus Quest comes with its own APK, a developer's kit, that you can apply in the game engine Unity and design your own environments. You will see one in a couple of minutes' time. Today's technology has brought together a number of different disciplines, including the camera's improvement of eye recognition and hand and body recognition, as well as rendering your hand and body within virtual reality. Devices are getting smaller and more mobile, allowing you to actually integrate with your environment a little bit better. This mobility brings its wearability. The more discreet these devices are, the more likely they are to be used. And the gamification of products brings new affordances and improvements in user interfaces, and brings us complete software environments in which to interact and create new instruments. So the future directions. Do these technologies and bring new affordances and new possibilities? We would like to hope so, but getting in early at this stage is very important. The Sonic Arts Research Centre and Performance Without Barriers research team benefited from a couple of awards, one for myself and one from another designer, Leo Kuzmenko, with the CityGen's PhD studentship, aiming at developing immersive technologies adapted for accessible, independent music making. We hope to build a local interest in what we're doing, and also within the community of interest on a global scale, bringing in the expertise of researchers and developers who would like to develop virtual reality musical instruments in this early stage. And we also need to identify the needs of the first explorers into these accessible extended reality music making environments, the musicians themselves. So thank you for watching. I'm going to leave you with a little excerpt of some of the work that I've been doing within Performance Without Barriers. It's a little delve into the world of Unity and exporting audio and MIDI from the game software development and using the Oculus Quest's natural hand recognition technology. You'll see what I mean. Thanks very much for watching. Okay, this is a representation of the Vault Artist Studios in East Belfast. A creation I made as part of an Arts Council project into Creative Industries Seed Fund. Now we have a few virtual instruments here, but more importantly, you can see my hands, okay? Virtual renditions of my hands. Now I can put a trigger point onto that hand, and with these, hopefully they don't disappear, with these I can actually trigger off sounds. Now I'm routing the sound from Unity in through a program called Loop MIDI, which is a virtual MIDI routing device, into Ableton Live. So I have one instrument here. It's a very simple instrument, and then down here another. And simple gesture. I don't get any feedback or haptics from this. There are rings you can buy, which are just slightly out of my affordance range at the moment, which do react on entering this trigger box here. But for now, we're just exploring the hand recognition capabilities of the Oculus Quest and its ability to wander around a space untethered. So the future should be fun. Thanks very much.